bringing you hot, smoldering topics on a weekly basis. Your participation is important.
Good morning and welcome to yet another edition of The Burning Issue here on the Happy World of 5 FM radio. Remember, we are also live on our partner radio stations, and we are live on Tuta FM in Mansa, covering the rest of Luapula province on 90.7 FM. Also live on Spice FM, that is in Kabwe, also covering the rest of Central Province on 91.1. We are also live on Platinum Radio in Ndola on 99.7. And we are grateful that you found time to tune in to this particular edition of The Burning Issue. Today is the 10th of December, 2024. And we all know that the Constitutional Court is making a delivery on the eligibility judgment, on the eligibility case rather. And so also allow me, because in that vein, it also somehow delayed our commencement of today's program. Obviously, his own interest in the case, and it's still ongoing. We will therefore be letting you know of the development as we go on this particular program. Our guest today is the Deputy UPND National Youth Chairperson for Politics and Mobilization, Mr. Trevor Mwiinde. Sir, welcome to the program. Good to have you. It's been a while. We haven't discussed in a long time. Welcome to the program.
I'm very grateful for having me here today on the 10th of December.
Right.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have a very pleasant conversation with you, sir.
We're looking forward to having a very good conversation now. You are Deputy National Youth Chairperson, and my interest is the politics and mobilization, where you are in charge. And we would like us to have a conversation around that a lot more, because we are aware that 10 days from today, this country will be witnessing a parliamentary by-election on the 20th of December in Kawambwa. And it is obviously a controversial election. Already we have seen campaigns have already started, and your opponents have hit the ground running. And it is important that we begin also to understand how the ruling party will actually counter campaign, because we've already heard messages that are being used in the campaign by the opposition. So because of that, I would like to discuss more around the politics taking place in that by-election, and also on the mobilization part of it all, because you are in charge, especially from the youth point of view. Now, we all know that this by-election was declared as a result of the conviction that took place on the sitting member of parliament in Nixon Chilangwa, who is now incarcerated. The campaigns have hit the ground running. But first, before we get to Kawambwa, I would like to find out from you how generally mobilization is moving in as far as especially the youth side of it.
Thank you very much, Zach. Mobilization begins from where you are, what you are doing,
right,
at that particular moment. From where I sit, I'm wearing a cap. And this cap talks about mobilization in the area of football.
Right.
You see, when you are mobilizing, we must also have a target group. And that target group must be of interest to society. And in mobilization, there's a cost component. In mobilization, there's an ethical component. In mobilization, not only cost, values. There is also consideration for others. So mobilization on its own is a lifestyle. It has got a lot of inclination to the cultural and cultural norms that which allow us to coexist as a people. So, Mr. Zachs, mobilization and politics in the urban circles involves, above all, are the youth's problems being addressed by the ruling party or by the government? The answer is yes. In a certain way, this is the only political party since independence in this country that has strictly adhered and redefined who a youth is, who must be a beneficiary. Other than that, if it were not the case, you would have found Trevor Mwiinde, who is 43 years old as of today. You would have found me going to line up, queuing that I want to become a Zambia National Service, I want to become a Zambia Army, I want to become a Zambia Police, forgetting about all the title accolades. But what is holding us back is the fact that the leadership in the country has openly come out and specifically defined who a youth is and what are the benefits of that particular youth. The youths have been given priority. The youths have been given an upper hand and leverage in terms of recruitments in the country, in the health sector, in the teaching sector or education sector, in the mining sector. The youths are the ones that this leadership of the New Dawn administration has prioritized. I can comfortably tell you, if you go to Mumba, where gold was being mined, not until the time when we had a disaster, you'd realize that close to about maybe 16 million, or sorry, I cannot say 16 million, 16,000 families. And then when you attach those 16,000 families by even a minimum of close to about maybe 4 people as dependents, you multiply 16 by 4, you would find that the numbers are good in consideration to the population statistics telling us that we have about 5.5 to 5 million youths in this country. You go to Mpika, you go to Chisamba, where youth activities, you go to Kasempa, where youth activities are involved in generous activities of mining in the informal sector of self-employment. You'd realize that the dedication that the youths now are willing to go and fend for themselves, whilst they are enduring, persevering certain hurdles, day-to-day hurdles of life, as the government is putting in position programs of youth empowerment vis-a-vis cash for work, that which is a bombshell in the face of those that want to antagonize the operations of government in this country. Yes, I know there are many times that I've come here on radio. There are many times that I've gone on television. Oh, yes, I know. I've heard you tell somebody, reduce the volume on your radio, reduce the volume on your TV set so that we can have a proper balanced conversation. We have a lot of citizens, whereas we are not saying it's bad to comment, it's bad to also give another opinion. We have a lot of people that are doing nothing except standing ready to antagonize and criticize the conversation we are having today. When we come to the studio, sir, it does not mean that I'm the oldest in this country. It does not mean that I'm the wisest in this country. It does not mean that I'm the most happening in this country. It does not mean that I do not possess personal problems as an individual. When we come here to the studio, we come as a voice. We accepted the mantle of leadership. We received a letter from His Excellency to say, I've appointed you as chairperson, and you will be able to help each other with Gilbert Liswaniso, Stephen Chikota, and at that time with Cindy Kauka. But as far as we are concerned, we do not have the monopoly of wisdom. The words we bring to this radio station to propagate to many other Zambians, it be in Mansa, it be in Chingora, it be in Ndora, it be in Mazabuka, it be here in Lusaka, are words of uniting and strengthening this country. Mobilization must help us safeguard our future. Mobilization must lock our future, making sure that those that are threatening civil servants today, in the name of mobilization, those that are telling that we shall follow you wherever you are, it shouldn't be the case. Because this mobilization we are doing now, Mr. Zachs, I sat here before in opposition. And now we sit in the leadership of the country. I have no reason whatsoever, in whatever manner, to sit here and intimidate the police, intimidate the teachers, intimidate the courts of law, intimidate. We saw previously. You see, Mr. Zachs, people don't want us to compare. But I must realize when I'm walking in a desert that this is a desert. When I enter in the water, in the ocean, I must realize that no, I'm in the water. So the mode of transport must change. You cannot move with the Land Cruiser, that which you use on the sand dunes on the desert, and expect the same Land Cruiser to operate with you on a sea. So comparisons are a nature of life. So in the quest to compare, nobody should take offense. We have where we are coming from. Some of us were born under UNIP. We were alive under MMD. We were alive even under the difficult circumstances under the PF. Why should people now want to bring in a narrative that things are more bad under the new Dawn administration? Yes, we agree, Mr. Zachs, that in as much as this country is sitting, Zambians, we are aware of the costs that which we have been moving with. I do believe that people are demanding, in the name of mobilization, to decampaign the ruling party. People are talking about reducing the cost of meal meal. Yes, it's a right call, but to how much is the question. You cannot politicize in the name and in the spirit of mobilization. You cannot politicize the cost of meal meal. Let us subsidize production. The youths that are involved in agriculture, speaking for myself, and many other people that cultivate. Take for instance, if at all we have 5 million youths and 2 million are involved in agriculture, and each and every youth has 2 hectares of maize, out of 2 million would have had 4 million. And based on the average yields, we will be able to reduce the cost of meal meal in the country to a reasonable amount. What does it do if meal meal goes to cost 50 kwacha? It means a farmer has no value to whosoever thinks that meal meal can be 50 kwacha. When we came into leadership of this country, this government really knew that the youths are not only in the employable sectors in town, the youths are also involved in agriculture. Hence the reduction in the cost of a bag of fertilizer and an increment in the cost of a bag of maize in order to accommodate. There are many youths, other privileged few, like some of us, are able to do both. As an amphibian, we can survive in the water and on the land, meaning that we can live in town and we can also do agriculture. We have both benefits. There are others that depend on rain-fed agriculture systems in this country. And we will not also forget the fact that this government did declare that there was a disaster. And in that disaster, it's not an excuse for us to fail to feed our families completely as citizens. We have a duty. You, Mr. Zachs, a listener out there, the cameraman standing in this studio, the taxi driver at Levy Junction, the car dealers at Levy Junction, they are where they are at this particular moment to fend for their families. When there's a disaster, we don't fold our arms. We don't sit to say, no, this disaster should find me dead. Even when I'm dying, I must die better. We must ameliorate the burden. We have a duty. Youth mobilization is a complex matter. In an environment where you remain the only few people that are going to respond to the phone calls, you remain only a few people that are going to attend the funerals of even the people that are going to be told on the burial site. It's called empathy. We have a duty, Zachs, to nurse nature, advise one another with a positive and proper health narrative. We have seen in some instances, people are insulting one another and using unpalatable language, and the voters and the electorates are crapping. Dear Zambians, wherever you may be, politics, if people are advocating for a reduction in the cost of a bag of meal, they should as well ask, why is it that CDF has been increased? And that has not been increased in a mathematical way, in a proportional way. CDF was not increased by calculation of saying, no, since it was at 1.6, let's take it to 2 million, let's take it to this. It is an indescribable increment. By graphics or by design, between the Y and X axis, you may not be in the position to write properly the increment. Otherwise, it can be surprising in mathematics to realize the benefits also of CDF. We have a problem somewhere. We know that the by-election has been necessitated by the imprisonment or the conviction of the member of parliament in Kawambwa. Dear people of Kawambwa, with all due respect, in life, never inherit enemies. In life, mwirate mwokupeterapo amasheti paruburi nangu pankondo ishiri yenu. Bamo bari mufikansa ukweshoke bati bese bafurishe kwa abana babo. Bese bafurishe ko abanabo ababutwike. Abanabo abaona wiro bunonshi bwa cyalo. Abanabo abalelete okwe bati no imwe na ine turete urumpato uroru ino urumpato. It cannot build your city. It cannot build your roads. So when a politician, even me as a youth, deputy national youth chairperson, I am in Kawambwa for a by-election. Let's do issue-based campaigns based on comparisons of the promises. Even if ye, nangu ni mwiine twaikara mutauni. Kuri mwe misepera mwe chiri murefa yanako umukashana no murumendo. Pokwe murisha gero. Umbinga isa mwe narakushtirako phone. Narakushtirako Samsung Note 18 or Note 16. Umina ino waishima phone isa kwa batawe narashita Huawei P60. Umina ina isa narakushtira iPhone 16. Narakupela kuna kamoto kakavaga kara pambari. People must go in politics in comparison to that narration efondela. Abantu bafire baya mufikansa ukurachita compare wino. CDF bami pera. Let's speak about issues that are already there on the ground. CDF bami pere. Pari 1.5 million. Nifinisha fyo mwachitirepo. CDF yo mwakwata nomba. Iyarapura pari 30 million. Nichinsha cho mrefu kwa tumichitire. MP weno tuwara mpera ni uyu. Uyu CDF yo mwakwete. Mumyaka ishiri 3 shapita panu mapa. Shami bom nifinisha fyo ichitire CDF kuno. If you realize that there's nothing, it's an open secret or the writing is on the wall. Nishama rembo ni areye ni akwebati mene tekeo ufasin ufumwenu na wabupima as a member of parliament. Umaskeo ya kumuru fia sanga watafire baransa. Iwende nama wale kupa. And you are a controlling officer as a member of parliament. You cannot hide in a conviction. Pantu inewi munomu studio. Ingane na isa bure na ifi na mira sangu Zachs na leto bure mapamubiri pamye no. I will not hide behind the finger to hide from the sun. The reality, the people, the cameras that are around here, they will say, "Awe ba Mwiinde mwali rufianya. Mwali le promu nenu iriso. Ba Mwiinde tefyo tuwa ikara ifyo." So a society must be able to respect what the courts do. A society must be able to respect what the police do. A society must be able to respect what the traditional leaders, starting from they themselves. This reminds me, In the spirit of mobilization, I saw a certain politician trying to demean people from Mwiinde. It's not the first time. And I want to put it clearly. Every Zambian, including the speaker, KBF himself, on his NRC, there is a village. Even me yesterday, I went at the Boma to get NRCs for my daughters. I was told, where is your village? Where is your village of your wife? Don't pretend, you are not Zambians. Tell us where you come from. Maybe you are Congolese. But we don't have values, or we don't know your details. We love one another. Let's forget about where one comes from for a moment, and let's look at what you can do. I did not come here to the studio because Zach comes from my village. I did not come here to the studio because Benjamin is my nephew. I did not come here to the studio because Bimat is my brother. No, I came here to the studio because I have a duty to do for my country.
Now, like I said earlier, politics have commenced, campaigns have commenced in Kawambwa, and I'm glad that you've started touching on it already. From what I have observed with obviously Eddie Galungu, who I think is still there, if I'm not mistaken, but he was in Kawambwa over the weekend into yesterday. And I looked at the addresses that he had in the church at some point. I think he was part of church service, and obviously met the public. And you can tell from the tone of himself and the people that are in that entourage is basically trying to seek a sympathy vote. Because now what they are saying is that the people of Kawambwa are mourning. They have a funeral, not by nature, but obviously politically created funeral. And so they are seeking that they should actually do it for Chilangwa. Now, when you have your opponent seeking for a sympathy vote, it's a very difficult terrain at that point, a very difficult game that they are setting against yourselves. You will go in and campaign, obviously, like you said, issue-based campaigns. You will go and question around CDF. You will go and question a lot of things. But then these people are being driven in a sympathetic agenda. How do you intend to counter that?
First of all, and factually, is that a person who aspires to become a president, or a person who was a president before, he must speak with facts. I do recall, if I'm not mistaken, in the USA, the sitting head of state, his son made a mistake and he was charged for a capital offense. The president allowed it, that let him go to jail. I think it's President Joe Biden.
Yeah. He has since pardoned that son.
He has pardoned the son, but he went to jail.
Yeah.
What is wrong for people to test what they defend when they are wrong? Are you sure that President Lungu, if indeed he wants to defend Honorable Chilangwa, who burned a vehicle, the courts found him wanting, and the courts sent him to prison, and you would want, because he's a political friend, he's a political comrade, you would want him to come out? So in the name of you to champion a campaign, that he comes out so that he bans, if beyond banning, with the tone that which we are seeing, where you have been telling civil servants that to come conquer. If at a time when you had all the instrument of power at your disposal, power melted in your hands, What about now? At a time when you were not hiring vehicles, when you had the choppers to take you wherever you wanted, you now want to claim that you can get the power using sympathy votes? Look, let's do comparisons here. We were taken into Chimbokaira. We were bundled into Chimbokaira, left our children. When you look at me, what was happening to us 6 years down the line backwards, I was more youthful than I am now. We left vulnerable children, vulnerable family members out here. Nobody talked about it. Nobody used it. And the courts saw it fit. We were acquitted. There are a lot of channels that which ECO can use to solicit for those people that are incarcerated or those people that are on their way to jail. A leader has a lot of diplomatic ways that he can address the system. One of them is to respect the decisions of the court, because the courts are part of the constitution. The judiciary is part of the system that which runs the affairs of the country, and we cannot do away with it. So we expected him to sober up and reduce the threats they are using on stage. Niba nani mukakonka, and how and why would you want to follow them? Even you civil servants that are doing your jobs judiciously, you are not only doing it for Zambia as a country, you are also doing it for God in heaven. And who tells them that they will be in power and they will be all powerful men forever? And who tells them that they possess rare caliber and the quality of leadership that only they can determine who becomes who? Our generation, I said it before and I'm saying it now, as a representative of the generation of the youths, we want also to make our own mistakes by identifying youthful leaders that are willing to move on a path of realistic, candid, sober humility, unlike manufactured humility because there's something you're expecting. Zambians can never be duped. If you are telling us that because there has been realignment of people that have been removed from certain positions based on them being found wanting, I don't think that it is a political stage conversation. Tell the people how you intend to use the CDF. Already they have put it at 30 million. Tell the people how you intend to manage the debt that which was left in this country. Tell the people how you want to operate the mines in a better way, that which have been reopened. The youths are eager. And unfortunately, we were called a small political party which uses small radio stations like yourself. A small radio station, 5FM. With the amount of influence, the number of programs that which you did for them, we were told, them at that time, they were confident to win because they said, we do not have the numbers in terms of radio stations. We are calling upon God in heaven, who looks at the deep intent of the people in their mind and who searches the deepest and darkest compartments of the human soul to deal with this situation we're facing in this country. This country needs Edgar Lungu to be more united to the sitting president. We have never witnessed unprecedented level of disrespect, devalue, even the own establishment of the Constitutional Court, that which they brought in the signed Constitution of 2016. They want to demonize it. They want, look, a field of prayer is a field of prayer, even when it is not your team praying. A field of prayer is a field of prayer. Don't say, how about what if you're black? How about what if you're green? Don't describe people based on the clothes they wear or where they come from. Here on earth, what I know, I was a baby. I did not have teeth. Now I have teeth to bite. I did not know how to speak. Now I know how to speak. The only sure thing I'm aware of as I sit here today is that at some day I will retire. At some day I will die. But what is it that which I'm doing for this country now? Does it mean that only they know how to manipulate people's minds using sympathy votes? The church belongs to God. And the church cannot be used to fight an individual. The church is the most sacred institution here on earth because it speaks to the volumes of people and groupings. And the church, according to Jesus Christ's commission, if indeed we are a Christian nation, the church, as I am a Christian, the church's commission, Jesus came for the people that are lost. Those that claim they know they are way, and they're already humble, they have already repented, they know already the outcome. They only want to be ahead of them is greediness and selfishness. Self-centeredness, egotism, it must be decamped heavily.
Do you as a party take this particular by-election as a big test for yourselves?
Any political maneuver, mobilization program, including coming here, is a litmus test. If I mess up in a word, I will still have to come back here in 4 or 5 programs to come and correct. Any political program is a very serious one. We have seen, we have heard. Even at the conception or at the inception of this very campaign, we saw ECRO struggling to introduce the candidate. He said, you are an engineer from NIPA. Ever since when did NIPA start training engineers? Hey, no, you are an engineer. Oh, no, you worked for this. He said, oh, no, I worked for this. Oh, no. Not until when they said, no, go and sit down, Mamdara. You cannot champion a conversation for people that have decided to do what they want to do. Me, I'm only calling upon youths that value where they come from, youths and women that have got a promise to the brighter future of this country. Because the country is the only thing that I'm sure of I will live when I die, because it will also swallow me. No matter where you are buried, no matter where your destination of your cemetery is, but I know that we must live in harmony by uniting the people that we are living with. So this by-election, indeed, it is a litmus test. Not only for the UPND, it is a litmus test for also the people that are on the ground. Did you expect His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema to go down, with all due respect, to the people of Kawambwa and start distributing the CDF? Tomorrow or the other day, President Hakainde Hichilema would be held accountable that you cannot abuse the Constitution. You cannot abuse the laws. So as far as we are concerned, brethren, radio listeners, managers, programmers, directors of programs, youths and citizens of common interest to a better, visible, and correct future of this country, let us unite and support the leadership that which is there, and support the programs that are there. And it can only be nice if at all the leadership of UPND is given a member of parliament in Kawambwa who is an engineer, who is a local person, a son of the soil, to represent them and their interests.
It is obviously the Tuesday edition of the Burning Issue. My guest is Mr. Trevor Mwiinde. He is the Deputy UPND National Youth Chairperson for Politics and Mobilization. Now, earlier on, I did make mention that we started this program slightly late because obviously our guest had taken interest in following the delivery of the judgment in the eligibility case, which we promised that we will definitely be giving you an update. It has just ended, and of course, the interpretation of the Constitutional Court on the matter is that the former president was twice elected and twice held office, and as a result, he may not be eligible to participate in future elections. That is the status of affairs in as far as the eligibility case is concerned. In short, ECL is not eligible to stand in any future elections.
We are grateful, sir. We have confidence in the courts of law. You see, sir, you cannot pick a carpenter who knows how to hold a plane and take him that, can you go and give us a spacing in a maize field? Unless you want to delay the programs. The courts must be dealt with by competent judges, people that went to school. This country invested money in those people by going to University of Zambia and various other establishments within the country to study the constitution, and they were also later on went to Ziare. Others became officers of competent courts within this country. So we must give credit where it belongs. No man whatsoever, however, wherever, should be able to dilute this with mixed feelings. Some of us went to jail. We were given 2 counts of aggravated robbery, 2 counts of malicious damage on the properties that which we never damaged. But I thank the psychology of the court and their in-depth research methodologies. They are able to understand where do you stay, what level of education, or what do you possess, what do you do. They will be able to know. We will not be able to demonize everybody who does not agree with us, including Lungu himself, because the status that which he holds is a former head of state. Clearly, and I cannot remove it by whatever I can say here. And I cannot change it. Lungu is a former head of state. Right now in Zambia, there is a president. And fortunately enough, the people that are listening, the 1.8 voters, including many others that may not want to know, he was voted for legitimately when Lungu was still in office as a president. He had to hand over the instruments of power at heroes. The Zambians were cheering because peace came to their homes. Even in Kawambwa, there's no bloodshed yet, and we don't wish it so. I witnessed how Lawrence Gaddafi died. They bring a person they have shot into the hospital, and they block the people that are supposed to offer him first aid. They brandish guns, pistols. They start sharpening their pangas on the road, blocking the family members and people that can help him be resuscitated. And you expect me, Zax, you expect Mwiinde to be happy that a person with such dictatorial tendencies, a person who can kill a person that is younger than me, even if those people are not related to me by blood, I have a duty as a Zambian citizen to make sure that I voice out. If it means that we are not going to go to heaven because of the mindset and the language that which we have held against the former head of state, so be it. But I know he was my leader, and he's a statesman. He's a father figure of this country. But he should not use this opportunity of his status to impede the wheels of development, the social hygiene that which the Zambians are enjoying must not be destabilized by a former head of state. Zambia is a jurisdiction on its own. Zambia is a country with its own independent rules and regulations and constitution. So if there are people that they were blindfolding that I'm becoming a president in 2026 and they start funding me, Maroveria umma. Chapa do chapa if start grooming other younger generations of politicians that are tolerant, that are understanding. We are also eager to see Zach's, even your son, become a president of this country. We are happy to see even your uncle, if he has what it takes, cameraman, he becomes the president of this country. We are happy. We are not saying President Mwiinde will not leave the stage of leadership. There's a beginning. Allow him to run his 10-year mandate as it has always been. Eddie Garungu ran for 7 years. It should not hurt him. He became a president because we had a sitting president die who had done his 3 years. He did these 2 terms. We went to elections twice. Even when he promised that he wanted to hand over 2021 elections to himself, the overwhelming reactions by the Zambians surprised him. We're not going to be arrogant. We're not going to be greedy. We know that each and every phase of life has got where it starts and where it ends. And as a matter of fact, as a youth leader, I have got my limited space of how much I can interact. I'm not here to demonize or send youths that behave wrongly because Lungu has lost for what benefit. It is not a loss to Lungu. It's a gain for the country. The agenda which President Mwiinde has is more greater and bigger and visibly sure. It gives an assurance when you have a sober leader. Leadership, Mr. Zachs. Mukoshi. Leadership is the neck. It's not the waist. Leadership mukoshi uachalo. If leadership is petty, if leadership believes in divisions, then we are doomed as a country. But we have got a leadership of His Excellency Mwiinde. No matter how much provocation he has received from ECL, to an extent where ECL was saying, tukamwingira mofie, tukamuma, he has not retaliated to say no, arrest him. During ECL's time, sir, even if you use an idiomatic expression by saying, no, we shall go for his throat, you will not realize how quickly you can come into the cells. Even among the people today, you claim that he wants them to be out of prison. Do you mean that ECL, who is a lawyer by profession, has got no understanding of how the courts systems operate? We were put in prison. Nobody went demonizing around the country that they have arrested my youth. Even when the same man, our elder brother, Emmanuel Mwamba, said, we have caught the guru of the cadres for HH, now we shall see on movie TV in the morning breakfast show. But look, hatred does not build a country. Only love does. This country was created for by others. This country, it is where it is because others' input also thought it wise that it should be how it is today. If you wasted the years that you were a leader, you did not do something that which is satisfactory. Please, believe in others, build others, so that Zambia in future, maybe, after the new Dawn administration has erased all the bad history and the records of your activities, maybe that person will stand ready to deliver in a different way goods and services to the Zambians.
Allow me at this point to invite our listeners on 0955-221515, and this is the Tuesday edition of the Burning Issue. If you've been following us, we are also live on our partner radio stations. Remember, we are live on Tuta FM, and that is on 90.7 in Mansa, covering the rest of Luapula province. Also live on Spice FM in Kabwe on 91.1 and covering the rest of Central Province. On the Copper Belt, we are live on Platinum Radio in Ndola, that is on 99.7. We are grateful that you carried this program live on your platforms. And remember that alongside our conversation here, we had a case, judgment in the eligibility case going on in the Constitutional Court. It has just come to an end, and we are receiving some breaking news. And the breaking news is that former President Edgar Lungu does not qualify to contest any future elections. This is according to the Constitutional Court ruling, which has just been made, and the court session has come to an end. You still listening to The Burning Issue, and our guest on this program is Mr. Trevor Mwiinde. He is Deputy UPND National Youth Chairperson for Politics and Mobilization. Now, this news, as we wait for the phone calls to come through on 0955-221, Edgar Lungu is not eligible to stand or participate in future elections. Does it come as a relief to the UPND? Because there has been insinuations that he was a big threat to the 2026 election for the UPND.
Sir,
very brief so that I can take
even
phone
in
calls.
mathematics,
Yeah.
when the teacher marks you wrong, when you take a correction, it cannot give you more joy. Lungu was marked X, or was marked outside the race in 2021. How does it become a relief or a sigh of relief to us in the ruling party? We have seen people that were declaring him in Kawamba on the platforms. No, everybody is 2026. How are you feeling? The country is bigger than an individual person. No, this must happen. This must happen. This country is bigger, and this country has men and women that do not sleep. We must not mock the judiciary. We must not mock the executive. We must not mock the legislature. And we must not abuse the media. We are here on the media today. I mustn't come here only to come and offer non-solutions. You media people, you also have a duty to cross me out, ghost me. Tell Trevor, we cannot invite you. You don't have issues to discuss. When you come, you are just saying, oh no, these petty issues. We have seen people that go on the stage to promise the people of the future without telling us that this vehicle we are seeing, we want to drive it, but it has got no engine. It has got a steering and nice chairs. Those are the promises that which they were making, fake, empty promises to the people in Kawambwa, people around the country, people in the Copper Belt in Dewera, Arewera, Popamupando. Where? In which country? Every country, every system has got rules and regulations. And we want to thank men and women, including State Council, John Sangwa. We want to thank the people that were courageous and bold enough that saw it that there is an irregularity here. This is not the way it's supposed to be. And we also want to thank a young man, a former University of Zambia student, who also saw it that there is an irregularity. This man has had his time in office. We thank you, all the stakeholders. We thank you, even you, the church, that are praying for this country. As the stakeholders, we thank you. We pray that even those anointments, anointing oil and whatever was happening, praying for the leadership, must continue in good faith to whosoever is standing, because we know that in the opposition, in the Tonse Alliance, as they put it, as their leader now, Lungu, has been classified as not capable, does not qualify. They will have to go back to the drawing board It's just like a minor setback. You are your midfield and has been given a red card. You have to realign. The game must not end. We wish them strength. We wish them good morale and a sober approach to politics, that which will address issues in a better way.
Let me at this point then take calls on 0955 221515. Once again, 0955 221515. That's the number you're calling us on. If you'd like to be a part of this conversation, let me take this call. Good morning.
Good morning, Zach. How are you today?
Not too bad, thank you. And how are you?
Very fine, my brother. Thank you so much.
Is this Brother Chisha?
Exactly. You are speaking to Brother Chisha in Lusaka.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Mr. Mwiinde, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. And how are you, sir?
Thank you so much. I don't know if I misquoted you. Is it true you said if it means to use bad language towards the former president is going to make you to lose heaven? Let it be so. Is that what you said?
Sir, speak your programs and your mind will respond.
No, we need to move at some pace, Mr. Mwiinde. You know, let me tell you one thing. Let's not compare heaven to anything which is happening under the earth. Heaven is more better than politics you are engaged in, Mr. Mwiinde. And to talk of the outcome of Concord, some of us, we are not shocked because the indications were there before the outcome. So some of these things, it's not even a surprising thing. But I'm here to encourage the Zambians who are suffering, because it's not Mr. Lungu who is suffering. Mr. Lungu has worked as the president of this country. For him to buy a bag of milling at 400, it's not an issue. For Mr. Lungu to suffer from electricity we are facing as load shedding in Zambia, for him is not a problem. He's able. It is Zambians who are suffering. Mr. Lungu can be bad not to stand in 2026. But what about Zambians who are suffering? Are they just going to watch and say, no, since Mr. Lungu is not allowed to stand, let UPND continue? It's us who are suffering on the ground. People can do Mingalato as they have been promising Zambians. Because we have heard a lot of comments to say, no, we are going to practice Mingalato. And when people are doing Mingalato, are we not able to see them? But who is suffering? Is it Mr. Lungu? Mr. Lungu is very much comfortable. It's up to me and the other Zambians who are feeding on Gazia speaking. For them to go and buy a bag of milling, they are painting their fingers as if they are voting. Those are the people who are going to decide come 26. Mr. Lungu, I think as we are speaking, is very safe. He's not suffering. What about Zambians who are going to buy milling, carrying the NRC?
Brother Chisha, thank you very much for coming through.
Right, are you able to get me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I don't know what happened. The line went mute. Okay, let me continue and conclude.
Please conclude, sir.
What I was trying to put across is that it's a pity that my line went cut. What I was trying to put across here is that yes, it's a sad development because these institutions are supposed to operate independently. And if people have already decided, I mean, we can't stop them. But the fact of the matter is that Zambians on the ground who are suffering are the big opposition to the UPND. And I'm here to remind the UPND, you can celebrate today. I mean, it's your time. But Zambians who are suffering, they are going to decide come 2026. Thank you so much, Zach. Work well, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brother Chisha. Let me take two more calls on 0955 221515. We have another caller. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, and how are you?
Fine, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Joshua, just calling you within town.
Joshua within town. Please go ahead, Joshua.
I just wanted to say it's very good that the former president is not eligible to stand for elections. But I would just remind the current ruling party to say, just like there is the former UPF government, so should they be. So right now, the UPND, what they should do, they should just work on their campaign promises, which they have failed us Zambian people. We voted for them. We wanted the change, but so far the change has not paid us. I'm just hearing what the gentleman was saying, the one you have in your studios. He's saying you would miss heaven. How would somebody miss heaven for politics? Please, let us not celebrate Lungu is not eligibility to stand as if it is a gateway to heaven. So let them go back to the drawing board, I mean, because the next opposition this UPN government has is we, the Zambian people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Joshua, for coming through. I'll take one more on 0955221515, and then we'll allow our guest to respond, and then we'll come back and take another set of calls. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And how are you today?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, who are we talking to, and where are you calling us from?
This is Anastasia. I just want to contribute also.
Anastasia, is it from within Lusaka? Are you from within Lusaka?
We, the youth, were being promised by President Hichilema that he's going to work with the youth. And he did fulfill his promises. It's not, we are a country. It's not PF versus UPND here. It's we, the Zambians. This is what they promised us. And the majority of voters are the youth. That's one thing you shouldn't forget. Border and background, people are suffering in these compounds. You can even feel bad if you were to walk around. People are buying meal. Yeah, the then is 20, 21. If they just here to say there's a show for Kema underneath it in Aunga. Guys, let's go. That's not a good thing. Mr. President should work on his promise. Thank you.
Thank you, Anastasia, for your call. And allow me at this point to allow the guest to respond to the phone calls that we've so far received.
Thank you very much, sir. In the background of Lawrence Banda's death, it would make us miss heaven. Because we will not be able to be in an environment which is toxic, where people were killed. Joseph Kaunda was killed. Then you want me to live in an environment where I cannot defend and speak for the evils that which happened to others, and then expect to go to heaven? Never, never, never. Brother Chisha, if your father behaves like a pig which can eat its own children, you must understand that there is also people that eat the mother pig. So in this society, you cannot be a master. There is blood of people on the hands of the leader you wanted to bring back to leadership of this country. People died because of ECL. In the 2 terms that which he had as the president of this country, people died. We did not hear any commission of inquiry. We have heard him go on the stage talking about the judiciary losing its fiber. I want to tell you, it is your government under the Patriotic Front which called Lavmo Chikopa, a judge from Malawi, to come and preside over issues here in Zambia. You had no confidence in the judiciary. And we don't believe that you ever have confidence in the judiciary. Because the judiciary does not go. Mwebena Zambia, ama judges tabaka ko omuntu, aba yamukufayo omulandu wa chitira omuntu, ni bakapokora. Bakapokora ero ba chita investigate. Bamupera neshita yakweba tuwe muntu webwe. Isa utari keko utwebe kona wefyo wishibe. Ero walalo ndorora. Jaji na yena alesenda zilifari alelemba. Na loya obepo waliwa ukulandirako. Nomba loya obe bamusepa. Na yo ine bakusepa. Then wambo kwa ilisha nyoke watawe Mwiinde tamule randa bwino. Hawe Mwiinde tamule bwino. No. And I want to say it to Brother Chisha, that yes, it is true that the Zambians are suffering on the ground. And yes, it is true. The president is aware of all the challenges. Even the last time that he addressed the National Assembly, he did put it clearly that yes, it is true. We are passing through a difficult phase as a country. And he has put it very transparently and invited all stakeholders in the energy sector, in the area of agriculture. Unfortunately, people do forget very easily. Zambia versus Gabon match in Heroes Stadium, power cut. The president was watching, former president. And the statement came out that, he's really part of the Zambian people. He's suffering with us. The problems that which they acknowledged before are the problems that which we're undergoing now. Politics, unfortunately, is about talking. And we will not allow them to bring about negative statements and propaganda in this country to try and fuel hate, tribalism. And let me put it very clearly today, Mr. Banda, and I will never say it again. Don't be cheated that if we hear you are a Banda, then we take it completely that a Banda ni muntu wa barungu because wachoka kumozi. Forget about it. The politics we enjoy in this country are very diverse, and people have got backgrounds, how they grew up, who kept them, who fed them. We are intermarried, we are connected, we are one another's keepers as Zambians. What we will respect is to be Zambians. We will not respect your background in as much as we have value to our traditional leaders and our backgrounds, but we will not carry that against our unity as a people. Our unity as a people is number one. Number two, what you can do based on your CV and your experience. You demonized President Mwiinde Ijirema when he was in opposition. You told the people that he's a thief. He stole. A thief who increases CDF. He went on radio and said, I will give you money and a house. Prove to me where I stole. Till now, those pledges are still open. Nobody has come to the fore. It is not the UPND to coordinate the confusion that which is going on in the opposition. They had UKA, they have now Tonse. It's not the UPND's job. There are people that feel that politics, you can just now dust yourself. If you are a preacher, can you adhere to the pulpit? If you are a comedian, can you adhere to the television? Allow us politicians to dissect matters of political matters in this country. A man can only be celebrated once in his area of influence. You can be a teacher and join politics because you are dealing with people in a different way. Not because people paid to come and listen to your jokes, and then you want to bring your jokes in politics. Politics is a serious business which does not have time for jokers. Sir, allow me.
Let's respond to Joshua.
Joshua, who said we must work on the promises we made to the Zambian people. Joshua, first of all, thank you very much. Indeed, we are behind the schedule to work on the programs and on certain promises. But above all, we must understand that if I picked a stone and threw it in the air in a compound and it fell on one roof, somebody has got something to talk about. Wherever it falls, somebody has got something positive to talk about what the UPND has done. Please, people, this money was there even during ECL's time. The CDF was not increased. Social cash transfer was regionalized, abused to an extent even a sitting minister in that particular ministry was convicted. Evidence is there in the public domain. The UPND stands tall, ready to discuss and cut across, dissect issues to do with corruption. There were issues to do with corruption at Ministry of Health recently. The president, through the Auditor General, did institute a forensic detailed investigation. And that was done. We have had a lot of losses as a country because of a culture of entitlement of certain people. We must not go back to the culture of only saying Gateva Zaks Tafiabeko. Even in football, there are substitutes. We must expect anything and respect. We must respect them. You remind me of a certain church attendant who used to go to church only when a certain preacher is preaching. When he reaches there, he finds a young man preaching. He says, no, he was not there when we were building the church. I cannot listen to his message. Who does what is good must be respected. A church has told us, his children, the UPND, youth leaders, and all the districts across the country, don't bring confusion. From day one, it does not mean that we are blind, we don't know who was beating us. I know who made me have this car. I know where the house is. I've not taken them to police. I know who made me have this diastema. But I've not taken any action. Let's have a tolerant spirit towards one another, especially to those that would want to aspire for political office. Let me make it clear. People have misquoted me on missing heaven. Me, I would not want to go to heaven from earth, a background where I live. I was abusing my children. I was abusing my wife. I was abusing my friends in society. Then after all these abuses, I pack my bags and I'm taken to the grave and I go to heaven. Then heaven is not fit to be called heaven. My works here must interpret where I am going. So if it is to miss it, in making sure that we are uncoiling the vices, the wrong deeds, uncoiling, then it is worth missing it. If it's to tell the devil that you are the devil, get behind me, Satan, I should meet the devil and kiss, just like a kiss of betrayal of Judas Iscariot? No. At this time, our generation, our children, including myself, are demanding for answers. And those answers must come straight. No beating about the bush. If your child is a thief, let them be caged. If your child is a killer, let them be caged. If your brother, he vandalized, he burnt somebody's property, let them be caged and be answerable. Those are the politicians we expect to hear. The same people, that vehicle, that which took the conviction of the former member of parliament for Kawamba, it did not happen in Ichoma. It did not happen in Ichpata. It happened in Kawamba. And those people that took the matter to court, they saw that there is a point of relief here on earth, at least we can report. So by saying those people are appealing for a vote of sympathy, a sympathy vote, these people, they are saying there should not be justice.
Let's respond to Anastasia,
And
who describes the situation on the ground as not pleasing at all in terms of how people are struggling to even get a bag of medicine.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
First of all, I heard somebody talking about NRCs. We were in Nsumbu during the opposition in 2019. When the DC saw our team that we were in Nsumbu, at that time in 2019, the UPND have come to get NRCs. They switched off the genset, parked their Land Cruisers, and ran away. NRCs are being given at the Boma openly during the day. Chera Tukuta is my witness. They wanted to abduct him at Civic Center when he went to go and renew his NRC. We had to put in place measures to say, no, please help that person move out safely. NRCs in this country, people are getting 0102, 03. Others among those that were getting, others were pregnant women, young girls, vulnerable children, moving at those wee hours of the night to go and get a constitutional document, a national document, that which validates somebody to become a citizen. It was a very big issue. Now here, we have heard somebody saying, no, we are doing this, we are doing this. Let's not abuse those documents. And let's put them to good use. Leadership is in the press. Amidst all the difficulties and amidst all the challenges the country is facing, I want to reassure the Zambians that President Hakainde Hichilema is not sleeping. The Vice President, Madam Mutale Narumango, is not sleeping. To making sure that the maize and the mealie meal, that which is well-intentioned through Kalonga, under the prisons, and under the Zambia National Service, that mealie meal must reach points of delivery correctly. I want to also add a voice over the Rwandans and the Burundians. Yes, in as much as we are in the Commonwealth and they are our neighbors, the idea of increasing the mealie meal price once it gets into a Rwandan or a Burundian citizen in the compounds is not welcome. Yes, we have a very active Department of Immigration. With all due respect, how come is it that whenever there is an operation of the immigration into the compounds to go and look at the Rwandans and the Burundians, the shops are closed? Let there be a thorough, systematic method to capture those sabotagers in the name of businessmen that want to make the costs exorbitant, exaggerated for our citizens, so that the ZNS command, the Zambia Correctional Services Command, which has been working tirelessly offloading tons and tons of bags of mealie meal onto the market, should do justice and work hand in hand with the immigration, because we are tired. ZNS looks too serious. Prisons looks too serious. And well positioned to end all these vices at one click. So we see no reason as to why also immigration, which is also well manned, a reputable organization which is supposed to help us contribute immensely to the internal security of the country. Among the contributing factors of internal security is food security. We will not be happy as the Zambians to see a bag of mealie meal that I'm supposed to buy at 200. I'm buying it from a foreigner at 300 because he has nothing to lose. But we welcome them as our brothers. Let them come and stay in the country and do business legitimately, even if you are making 1 kwacha a day. Anastasia, we will be able to re-echo your support and your value for content and satisfaction in terms of service delivery to the Zambian people. Please keep on reminding us. We have started, this is 10th December. The politics of mobilization to talk to you, Zachs, in-house and outdoors. We have started. The march to 2026 must be issue-based. My emphasis must be issue-based campaigns. Tell the people how you want to work with the free education, which you said, HH, Indra Mogasanga Kuisa. Free education as if it is not enough. Every student who is in an examination class, grade 7, 9, and 12, tabari pirama exam fees. Akareta kwa linokulemba examination. Ngata ukwete exam fees. The fruits which President Hagainde Ijirema, if you are leviala, pari nonsta. Fikesa moneka fie, mu 2031, diga bakala prisha masku, ebo ambire na vena. We pray the Lord that the grace, that which God has anointed this country as a Christian nation, shall see us through the divine favor, the divine providence of God Almighty, shall see us through to 2031, so that we shall look back and say, God, this far you have brought us. And also those people that are actual beneficiaries shall be able to speak. And look, Mr. Zachs, we must learn as citizens to appreciate when something good happens to that media man, there are journalists there. We must learn to appreciate when something good happens to that listener out there. There are people that were crying tears of joy for the first time in my life. I'm 43 years. I've lived in UNIP. I've lived in MMD. I saw ladies, boys crying tears of joy that I never thought that I can be drafted into the system of government without anybody backing me. There was a time recruitments were happening in this country. There was a time in this country there was wage freeze. Yes, we don't want to compare Zambia with any other country because this is our country. This being our country. We have seen in other jurisdictions where it is worse. The best we can do as citizens, let's pray for our leaders. Let's remind them, because our leaders are able to listen. Let's walk with the talk of unity. Zambia is only one country. And Zambia being one country, take we a Zambia miti ku high court yo. Zambia is a Christian nation. You bath juju, you go and see a witch doctor, you do whatever you want to do. You use hatred. Today, yes, you can win a seat. You can win a seat using hatred. But that does not mean that you have unlocked everything. So let us use love. Let us condemn where it is necessary. And let us uplift where it is necessary. May Messiah get hold of this conversation and remind us, and remind, even when we are gone in the next generation, remind those that shall be after us, that there were people that meant well and that believed Zambia can only reach a certain level. You go and find a politician, he stands on a stage and says, me, I'm a political president, party leader, who believes in cigarettes. Mirolo, 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 mirolo. And the people are clapping. Where are we going? President Webange, I am in a past stage. I am there bange. Talanda program ya bange yakwe. Biminari mukora. We need to have issue-based campaigns. Vane apa kuri free education, apa fotukala mpangila kuna mabasi agara misenda kumayanda kumienu. So the problem never UPND ngechaka kutuwa kopera. Tukopereko. Vane apa CDF ya fikefi ama empowerment yo vare mipera. Ayama empowerment social cash transfer. Fotukala mipera ma 2000. Na vile tuifumfu tenga twala monoka ba tuipampant. Vane please kutuwa fika pa na ngute tukwanishe. So we have a country to save, Mr. Zachs. With all due respect, respect must come back. You cannot run away from your country. We have people that call themselves, I'm a patriotic Zambian. I'm in the patriotic front. Others have dwarfed themselves into oblivion, into foreign countries. That shows how unstable certain leaders are. We were in opposition. I've never sat as the provincial chairman, district chairman in any ruling party, I've risen in rank as a politician to national management level, as an opposition politician, then I cannot be intimidated by the voices of people that want to bring confusion in our beloved country. This country has not only become mine because I'm in leadership, it was also mine when I was in opposition. So let it also go deeper into their heads. Those that want to oppose the leadership, do so with love and compassion.
Trevor, Mwiinde, we have to leave it here, and obviously because of time, but I would probably just give you under a minute to make your concluding remarks.
Well, Mr. Zachs, what I know is that leadership is the neck of the country. If we cut off the neck, that is where sight is, sense of hearing, sense of taste, sense of speech, sense of smell. Leadership is the only true and real connection. The court, the memorable and the monumental decision today, it shall go in all generations to come. When there is a riot, the police, they go and capture. When they capture, that's when you separate, say, oh, we want each other. Oh, it's your men. So also the judiciary has shown us that they are able to review certain decisions that which are of national importance. We are grateful to the impartial men and women of the court that understand decision making when it is so critical, and they have belabored to establish, citing other examples in other jurisdictions, that on its own is job well done. It is not a loss to ECL. It is a gain to the country because it opens up other aspirants in the PF that wanted to become presidents. Mundubire mreumfwa. Bonse mba twere kwenda ramma kule ku secretariat. Mreumfwa wale fwa yoku mibonfya. Bamfunyapo kumafunde ya chalo. Fight for yourselves in a nice way. Create a political environment which is devoid of insults, which is devoid of barbarism, organism. Create a political environment which is issue-based. What I know, the standards of leadership in this country, Zambia, they have grown to unprecedented levels. To those that want to oppose President Hakainde Hichilema, they must do so in terms of level-headedness. A person who is unlocking the debt of the country, the debt burden, using his sophisticated network. President HH, with one Minister of Finance and a small lean team from the Minister of Finance, managed to negotiate on behalf of the country. What ECL failed with 4 different ministers of finance at different times is a type of leader that even the next president we shall have, after President HH has done his 10 years in office, shall be able to consider consulting. We are looking for leaders that love one another. Leaders that are able, for the benefit of this country, that can sit on a round table and consult what decision do we need to do as former head of state when we are faced with such a situation. Please, President Rungu, as a statesman, do not antagonize. You came back to politics. The laws of the land have retired you, that you cannot participate. Go back as a statesman. Let your family enjoy. Your sons and daughters need to see you respected. You are a father figure of this country. And by saying these words, does not mean that we would want to go on separate ways till eternity. No, God commands us to have love, consideration for the elders. And we are doing just that to make sure that former President Lungu enjoy your benefits and your status. Look, a good example is in Kenya, where there were even riots between the people that were supporting Raila Odinga, who lost actually was not even a former president, and President William Ruto. They have reconciled. Even in international meetings, they move together. Where are we going wrong? The program of the country must not suffer because of a former president. The progress of the country and the programs where you ended, where you know you have the connections, introduce. Because President Hakainde Hichilema has not come to stay as a headman or as a chief. Even to some of you politicians that are running politics, even if you are running a political party, like Zambia must prosper, reduce your level of hatred. Go back to your house and look on your NRC, and you will realize that there's somewhere where you come from. There's a village where you come from. And us having not mentioned it, it means we respect the people. Stop demonizing Wengwa. It's just a press of hardworking people, hardworking men that you never believed one day they can produce a president. I'm a villager too, and I salute that and I appreciate it. We thank you, Mr. Zachs, and comrades, friends and foes that were listening to us. May God bless Zambia.
Trevor Mwiinde, he is the Deputy UPND National Youth Chairperson for Politics and Mobilization. Thank you very much for finding time to come and share this platform with us and people out there. We thank you for coming, and thank you all, more importantly, to partner radio stations that carried this program live on their platforms, and that is Tuta FM. Thank you very much, Spice FM, and of course, we are grateful as well to Platinum Radio in Ndola. So we will be back with the Thursday edition of the Burning Issue this week. So from all of us, is take care of yourselves and more so of each other. Bye-bye.
Tune in next week for another edition of the Burning Issue, and thank you for your participation.